Hello and welcome everyone to the annual podcast, the Amateur Theory podcast, where we talk about movies and sometimes other stuff throughout the previous year. So here we are for our 2024 episode. And this year, I thought we'd provide a little more structure. And we're going to have everyone go and give it top five. We're going to talk about the top five movies one by one. But before that, I wanted to give a special shout out to some other movies we saw that kind of fit the so bad it's good genre, which if you're a longtime viewer, you know that was this podcast bread and butter. The problem is you run out of those kind of movies pretty quick, it turns out. So we had to pivot. But just because to add to the canon, I wanted to talk about this first movie we're going to speak about for 2024, which is Mousetrap. Have any of you seen the movie Mousetrap?
I've never even heard of that.
Okay.
Is it a theatrical release or?
Maybe. If it was very limited. Mousetrap is so for everyone who doesn't know, Steamboat Willie went into the public domain.
I have heard of this.
And Mousetrap is a slasher film where the main villain is a man, or not, I shouldn't say a man, a being in a Steamboat Willie mask. Shenanigans ensue. It was horrible. Like the acting was bad, the script was bad, the special effects were bad, but unlike Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, which I had also seen and just genuinely didn't like because it was bad. It was bad and I didn't like it. This had me laughing in tears. And it seemed earnest to me. It's possible they were just pretending to be bad on purpose, but if they did do that, they did a really good job of pretending, because it seemed like all the actors were really earnestly, maybe the script writers were having fun, but the actors were playing a straight performance. Maybe that's what it was. But it was just a whole mess of bad, and cherry on top, it's a Disney property turned into this. This is what we get first year public domain. So I just had a blast with it. If you guys had anything that would fall under this category before we go into our top five, any things you just want to mention?
You should go, because I'm going to interpret this a little bit differently when I talk about mine.
Okay. I mean, the movie I'm going to bring up is it a so bad it's good? It's okay. Well, the film I'm thinking of is Megalopolis by Francis Ford Coppola, which kind of defies explanation. Even I'll say here. I'll start off with this. When I was watching the movie, about like 20-30 minutes in, I realized that this was kind of akin to watching like animals at a zoo or a documentary. Just like I didn't feel like I was watching humans. I was watching people that maybe looked like humans and technically spoke like humans, but didn't act like humans. There was always just something a little bit off. And this movie's this is a big passion project for Coppola. He's been trying to get it made for a while. He financed the whole thing, And I understand why. There's no way a studio would have given him the money for this. And it was a huge bomb. Didn't make any money at the box office. But I'd be comfortable calling it a so bad it's good. It's an entertaining movie. Like, if you want something that just if you want something different, watch this, because it's a big swing and a big miss. Like the bat goes back behind you and hits someone in the bleachers in the face. It's very, very unusual, and I feel like I've hardly said anything. Like, if I want to recount the plot, I'm not sure how I would go about doing that. For anyone watching, if you've seen Southland Tales, think kind of that. Southland Tales meets Caligula. It is a colossal mess, and it's glorious. a glorious mess. It's a movie I'll probably be watching for the rest of my days. It's such a train wreck, but entertaining. It's yeah.
All right, what about you, Adam? How did you interpret this
So,
this category, as you put it?
because what I'm going to describe is not so much it's so bad that it's good. It's more that there are so many things that should make it good, and yet I'm struck by the things I don't like about it, if that makes sense. And the movie that kind of stands out to me in that regard is a movie called Cuckoo. Now, Cuckoo, like, critically did relatively well. It didn't make that much money. But in order for me to explain kind of, because with Cuckoo, I can't talk about how the bad things make it good. Well, what's more interesting, I think, is about what prevented it from being maybe the good movie it kind of, sort of, almost is, in a sense. For me, because a lot of people liked it, actually. It's got an okay reputation, I feel. But in order to explain my problems with it, I want to talk about a movie from a couple years ago called Barbarian. So,
Love that movie.
Barbarian
about that, right?
is
Yeah.
It's a great horror movie in my opinion. I really loved it. It's really funny. It's really tense at like the right times. With a lot of like interesting characters, even characters that like are like clearly awful people were fun, entertaining to watch in that movie. And I think that one of the things that stood out about Barbarian was before it came out, there were these advertisements, and the advertisements were really good at giving you no clue what you were in for when you watched that movie. Like, it created interest. The advertisements created interest. We ended up seeing the movie because of them, and I was flabbergasted at where it went, and I was completely surprised by that. So now let's talk about Cuckoo. What I believe is that the Cuckoo advertising campaign was attempting basically the same thing. That you did not get a very strong sense about what exactly was going on in the advertisement, which, by the way, is a good thing. I much prefer that your advertisements don't tell me the plot of the movie, if you can, please. But the issue is that it was doing that, and therefore it set up an expectation similar to Barbarian, which is that Barbarian, what I saw in Barbarian, I was completely was completely surprising. So the issue with Cuckoo is partially this, that I feel like it sets itself up as a WTF kind of like, what is this crazy movie gonna be about? And it ends up being like super mundane. Like the monster is like not that interesting, kind of weird, I guess. There aren't like twists that I find to be really shocking or like were really built up. And then the other kind of issue I have with it is that, like you might recall, I was saying about Barbarian that a lot of the characters are reprehensible, but they're still fun to watch. It's fun to watch them interact and stuff like that. Whereas some of these characters are theoretically more sympathetic, and it's just not a good time being with these characters. It's just, the movie seems to do a lot of work to make us have a bad time with these characters. And it's like, why are you working towards that end instead of making us care about the characters? So yeah. Anyway, I thought that was an interesting movie to talk about because of that. I know it's not the same thing that Braden and Jail's movies were like, but I just wanted to bring it up.
Well, all right. Well, now's the part we're all been waiting for all year, right? Every one of our listeners, I know this is the highlight of your year. So here you go. We're gonna kind of go one by one. So it's gonna be 5, 5, 5, 4, 4, 4 You guys get the cadence.
Oh,
And
yeah.
if
I didn't rank my movies. I just wrote down 5.
oh, no.
All right, that's fine.
On the fly, you got.
Gotta make a decision. Your
we'll
gut
have you
instinct
last.
is probably going to be more accurate than if you think deeply about it. Anyway.
But if anyone else has seen the movie, don't reveal if it's in your own ranking or whatever. But feel free to chime in about your thoughts. But my number 5 of the year was the movie Civil War. Did you guys see this?
I did not.
Have not heard good things. People I know said it was really good, but I just never got around to it.
I've heard a criticism of it that, to be honest, actually has put me off from seeing it, but I'm curious what your thoughts are.
So, I mean, I put it in my top 5, although at the bottom of the list. That is another example of a film where the advertisements probably made people think it was something that it wasn't. Because what it's not is like a action war movie, right? I mean, there's some of that element of it, but it really is about journalism. Like the movie is about journalists and kind of going through a harrowing time, and there's some kind of I think maybe the political element of it also might have been hyped up, given the world we live in right now, and recent events. That was probably talked up to be a big part of it, and it's there in like a very kind of background commentary of the movie, but it's not. This movie is not about politics. It's not about politics. It's not about war. It's about journalism. So if you have that in your head, then I think that's the key to enjoying this movie. That being said, it kind of has like a Walking Dead kind of appeal to it, where it's like this dystopian world and we're just trying to get through and make it, right? But then there's this kind of journalist part on top of that, where we have like a mission. Our mission is to be journalists in surviving in the apocalypse, something like that. And it's it was well done. It's very engaging. Part of the reason that I made this was the last movie I added. I actually had a different movie on here at number 5 before this one, but I bumped it because when I thought back to that movie, I remember liking it a lot when I saw it, but I had a hard time remembering a lot about it, which made me think like, okay, I enjoyed it, but how memorable was it? And that was something I saw at the beginning of the year. This was also I saw near the beginning of the year. I forget exactly when it came out, but it wasn't in the second half. But I still remember it pretty vividly, and I remember scenes in it and then all sorts of stuff. So it stuck with me. And so that even though maybe when I first saw it, I didn't think like, oh, this is incredible. The fact that it stuck with me as strongly as it did, given that I only saw it once, I thought it deserved a place. So it's number 5.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to see it because other people have told me it's good. Is that Alex Garland? Directed it?
I think so.
Okay.
I feel like on this podcast, I do not have a good history of being factual. I just say things like, I think this, and then it's not true. But I think so. I think that sounds right.
Yeah. Well, I can go with my number 5.
Okay.
Which was Furiosa.
I did see that.
Yes. I like the Mad Max movies generally. Really liked Fury Road. I think everyone did. And like hearing about this prequel, I shouldn't say I didn't care, but I had really no expectations either way. I was like, okay, yeah, maybe. I mean, I think I went to go see it because I was hanging out with my dad. And we're like, hey, let's go watch a movie. And I ended up really enjoying it. Whereas Fury Road was pretty much 2 hours of nonstop action, which I love it for. This movie is much more story-based in a sense. Like, they're kind of acts, it starts out with her at the beginning and then like later on through her life. the Mad Max world has always had interesting, colorful characters, and this doesn't disappoint. I love Liam Hemsworth in this movie. He's so odd in a sense. And they set him up as like the big villain of the movie, which I guess he is kind of, but he's also a little different in a sense. You kind of have to watch it to get what I mean. But when the action scenes did come on in this movie, I think they delivered like very well, just like Fury Road. Like I love a good action scene. I love good action movies, and I was gripped in this film. Very well done. Which I guess isn't a surprise. George Miller usually does a good job. Yeah, good prequel. Recommended for any Mad Max fan.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that movie bombed as hard as it did. But then when I thought about it for a little bit, I was like, that makes sense. It's a prequel that no one asked for, using completely different actors than the actors that you're familiar with. They didn't come out that long ago. And the original
actually, if this
Fury Road
movie
was
had
not
come
some
out
like
earlier, I think
massive
it would have done
blockbuster.
better.
It was a hit, but it wasn't like, Jurassic Park or something. So it's
Yeah,
but
well, I think if this had come out earlier, it would have done better. Because like when Fury Road came out, like that did really well,
It's
right?
100,
Everyone
right?
was talking about that, and I think the fact that it's almost now like a decade later, people have kind of forgotten and don't care as much. Or if this had come out like maybe 2019, like I think people would have been more hyped. But yeah. But don't believe the numbers. This is I thought it was a great movie.
Right. My number 5 of the year is The Wild Robot, which is
oh, I saw that.
DreamWorks, kind of more recent animated work. And since this is my top 5, I absolutely love every single one of the movies I'm going to be presenting. So I think that what's going to be more interesting to talk about when it comes to the one on the last on the list, though, is what stopped it from being on the last of the list. So just a quick summary of the things I loved. It has a ton of, like, honestly well-earned pathos. It's got, it's got characters that are super easy to root for and to like kind of love a little bit. I wouldn't say like the dialogue is embarrassing for a children's movie at all. It works. And then, there's just like really powerful tearjerker moments that like do the job. Like, it's one of those movies and it's pretty good. Okay. But this is not, in addition to being the item that's the last on my list, it is also probably the one that I feel maybe the most disagreement with the mainstream, because this movie is like critically adored. Like consensus was that everyone who has seen it like generally loves it. It's like it is a beautiful like lovely animation. Any good thing you can think of is often leveled at it. But I can't help but feel I'm a little out of step with the mainstream opinion about it a little bit. And my big issue with the movie was, and once again, I'm going to use another movie to give an example of what I mean here. But my big issue with it is that this is the type of movie where characters just say the thing you're supposed to learn at each other all the time, the entire movie. It's just saying this important life lesson and this important life lesson with like a really like meaningful like voice, like this is the true thing that you should probably learn about life and existence and stuff like that. And there's like a swell of music every time they say it and stuff like that. And so I think it's to the movie's credit that the things that happen and like the animation stuff really supports those feelings still building up, even though it's so on the nose and so like obvious when all the characters are are saying all the time. And I can't get over it. I can't get over that this is basically like just like a pep talk at a sports game, or like just kind of like a inspirational speech or something at like a church or something. The point is that I don't like the way that the characters, even though it's not embarrassing, it's not like, it doesn't make me cringe, but at the same time it's awkward. It's strange the way that characters are talking in these pieces of life advice throughout the entire movie. And that, I don't know, once I was getting the feeling of it, it just got worse and worse the movie went on. Not enough to stop me from shedding a tear at the end or something, but I'm just saying, like, it would have been much more powerful if instead it did think of like a Pixar movie like Up. Okay. Can I give spoilers about Up? Is that okay?
It's up to you.
I don't know. We might get angry letters.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
The key thing is, if you've seen Up, then hopefully you know what I'm talking about. The key thing is that some of those early Pixar movies created these extremely powerful emotional moments by showing interactions or things the characters do that carry the meaning or the weight of what the story is saying. Whereas this movie, as it is also powerful and characters are also doing meaningful things, they're also constantly not shutting up about it and explaining how important all those things are to you, the entire movie. So that's my piece about it.
That was a good
It's a little too didactic for your taste. Yeah, I understand. I totally get it. Although it is a good movie, I saw that too.
Yeah, it's funny. I didn't hear that or see it, but now that you mentioned it, I can't not see it in that movie. Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. But okay, that's number 5. So now we're moving up one rank. This is number 4, and this is a hot take. This is a real hot take. This is a controversial pick because this
we like those. I like those.
I'm settled in. I'm ready.
I loved it. So this is going to be me defending it against the haters. And that is Lord of the Rings, War of the Rohirrim. This movie...
I knew you were going to say that.
and let me tell you, you will not beat a bigger The Hobbit trilogy hater than me. Like, I am the Hobbit trilogy hater. I hate those movies. I think the Rings of Power show is like... I'm still watching it, but it's not good. It's not a good show. So I'm not above, critiquing. Just because something's Lord of the Rings doesn't mean I'm automatically gonna like it. Like, that's not me. But I did like this movie. It felt like what I wanted these other movies to be for Lord of the Rings. It felt, and one of the criticisms that people say about it is that it doesn't feel like Lord of the Rings movie. It feels like a generic fantasy. I can't relate to someone who says that. This very much felt like Lord of the Rings. In fact, its plot is basically just completely taken from the Twin Towers. It's basically just that movie again, but it's done in a good way. Just like the Star Wars 9 is basically Star Wars 4, right? Like it's basically the same movie. They change up the characters and there's, but like the plot points follow very much similar arc, and this is the same thing where it's if you've seen the Twin Towers, you'll know exactly that, like, okay, this is happening, okay, now this part, that kind of thing. But it was good, right? I liked the characters. They were noble and did all the Lord of the Rings stuff. There was no awkward attempts at forced humor. There was no scenes where it felt like a roller coaster ride where you're kind of just, I could just turn this into a whole rant about The Hobbit, so I won't. But like all the problems with The Hobbit that I really hated about those movies are pretty much absent here. There's the characters, their motivations are clear. They go on, they have the epic battles. The critiques that I think are fair is that occasionally, I think generally this movie looks pretty good, but there are certain moments where it just looks cheap. and they're very jarring when they happen. Where it's like, okay, the budget wasn't put here. this is like, I could make some similar graphics using emojis on or I don't know. I don't want to go too into it, but anyway, sometimes the movie looks cheap. The dialogue can be a little bland, and there's the issue where the plot is just too similar to a past movie. So I get all those critiques. I had a ton of fun watching it. I just really enjoyed myself. I can see that it's a flawed film, but I just liked it so much that I can't help but put it at number 4. So that's my strong endorsement of the War of the Rohirrim. I was really disappointed to see that it flopped as bad as it did. I didn't expect for it to be a hit. I didn't think it would. I mean, this movie tanked bad. It was yeah. You can't overstate how badly it did in the box office. I understand there's kind of a history of this where they made this movie to keep the rights. Basically, like they had to make something and it had to be a theatrical release, so they did it in the cheapest way they could. But the impression that I got is that maybe it's true that the studio didn't care about this movie very much. But I think that the people who made it, like the director, it seemed like he wanted to tell his story to me. It seemed like he was invested. He made it work with the resources he had, which was limited. It was a small budget for Lord of the Rings film. But given the restraints he was under, he made something that was good. So I hope that I predict that when this comes to streaming, I think it'll come to Max. That's where the Lord of the Rings content is. That's not Rings of Power. I think it'll find a new audience there. I predict that it will. And I think that it, a lot of people who aren't seeing it, wouldn't see it in theaters, would find out that they like it more than they thought they would.
Did you see it, Adam?
I have not seen it, so I'm contributing to its demise at the box office. Sorry.
My opinion's mostly dissent from Braden's, but it's not a horrible movie by any means. Like it's not bad, but I'm not gonna call it good either. Fair enough.
No, I mean that's fair. You have the popular opinion here. When I read the Discord around it, there's some people seem to outright hate it, and there are a lot of people who are like, it's fine, 5 out of 10, kind of thing.
My main problem with it, for me at least, the direction just felt very flat at times. Like for example, like their dialogue scenes, but I didn't feel like the visuals or direction were doing anything to accentuate any of the information or emotions. Like there are lots of times where I only knew what was going on because of like dialogue. Whereas I felt like a good director could use like visuals or editing or like shots to make it more interesting in a sense.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, like I said, I can understand why someone would not be as enamored with it as me. And there was something to be said about how pent up I wanted a Lord of the Rings story. I didn't hate. So it's probably a smaller bar for me to hop over to make it a winner. But
yeah, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean that being said, like anyone who likes Lord of the Rings, I'd recommend like just giving it a shot at least. Like I said, it's not a horrible movie by any means. All right, my number 4. Okay, so I decided I'm ranking these in order of how much I want to talk about them. Or I don't know. My number 4 here is probably better than maybe some other movies I saw, but I'm putting it at number 4 anyway. That is Dune Part 2.
Wow, that is lower than I would have guessed, for you especially.
Yeah, people who've seen this before know that I love Dune, the book. I love the first movie. I even love the David Lynch movie. But yeah, this was, I mean, I felt like we talked, I mean, we definitely talked about the first movie in another podcast, but like, the simple thing to say is just like, it's the second half of that story, and it's just as good. My opinion. Yeah, there's some. This is on nearly a 3-hour movie or something.
Yep.
There's something to be said for a movie that's that long that doesn't feel that long when I watch it. Got to see it in IMAX and glorious visuals, just presentation, so bombastic and epic. I had a great time, loved it, as did everyone else. I think everyone else also seems to love this movie. I'm not surprised. And it's odd. This came out in March or so. It feels forever since this came out. Like, we got to the end of the year and I was thinking about this list and I'm like, oh yeah, Dune 2. That was the thing. But I don't have much more to add about that. To add to it. Just a phenomenal movie. I think you probably know if you'll like this movie or not. Like, I can't imagine someone loving the first Dune movie and then thinking this was a spectacular failure or something. I mean, I also know what to expect from the story, though, because I've read the book multiple times. I'm pretty familiar with everything, so just my opinion. Yeah.
Okay.
Good movie.
I would talk about that movie a little different, but
Okay.
We'll get to that when we get to that.
All right. So my number 4. And okay, yeah, my number 4 is Deadpool and Wolverine.
Okay.
So here's
I like
the thing.
that more than I thought I would.
Is that there's a certain baggage associated with Marvel, and whenever you talk about a Marvel movie, you have to also consider that the fact that there's a certain kind of humor, a certain kind of story, a certain kind of everything, and every Marvel movie cannot deviate from it too much. I feel like whenever it has sometimes not led to the results that the studio wants, and the studio wants consistent fast food-esque results from these movies. So like, I'm thinking of like the second Doctor Strange, which is directed by what's his name, Sam Raimi, and that was too weird. People didn't like it, So it's got to be the Marvel type, right? And the first thing I want to mention when I say this movie is that this movie doesn't shake that. It's still there. Like, it has kind of Marvel humor, which a lot of people have a bad reaction to nowadays. It has a lot of Marvel action and a lot of interest generated from references instead of necessarily the story itself. So given all of this baggage that I've been mentioning, I think it worked really well, because I am very wary of that baggage. I do not go to see very many Marvel movies, okay? But I thought the first Deadpool was funny, and I thought the second Deadpool was funny, and like, you can, I know there's lots of disagreement with me about this, but I think that Ryan Reynolds is funny, and he's got a funny sense of humor, okay? So I think that they, like, even though it still has that sense of Marvel-ness, you can still be pretty creative in a Marvel movie, I guess, because there's a lot of weird stuff that happens in this movie. There's a lot of, fun ideas. The jokes are, like, shoot me. I think they're funny. Like, I think the humor lands more often than not. And at the end of the movie, I had the sense that I had a good time while I was watching it. So, it's not super easy to create that every single time. So, yeah, number 4, it's really solid. I had a lot of fun.
I will say, I don't think this is much of a spoiler to say, but the fact that the references were Fox references instead of Disney references is somehow made it okay.
It made it funnier.
And charming. It's like,
Yeah, well, they did funny things with the references. Like,
Yeah.
I don't try not to give anything away, but there's like a thing early on that involves, I think, Chris Evans.
Yeah.
Like, that's a little different, and that actually made me laugh because, yeah. So they'll actually try to make jokes with the references, like, you know, do things with your expectations. Yeah, I like that movie too. I don't know any of the Marvel stuff that came out before it. I can't remember. I haven't seen most of them ever since Endgame.
Yeah, I haven't watched most of them. I didn't even watch Deadpool 2. But I saw this and thought it was pretty good. All right, number 3, top 3. This is the bronze medal. And this is... So when I told these guys to make their top 5 list, I specified that it didn't have to come out this year. Just in case there was some movie that really caught your attention, you wanted to talk about it. And that happened to me, because my number 3 did not come out this year. It came out a few years ago. And that movie is The First Slam Dunk. That is it's an animated basketball movie. And if you at Rotten Tomatoes, it's either like 100% or 99%, something ridiculous. And so because it was reviewed so highly, I was just curious. I wanted to see it. I like basketball, so that was a plus. And yeah, this movie was incredible. Just so amazingly good. I don't think you have to like basketball to like it. And what's cool about it is that it feels actiony, but it's a sports game. Like they're playing sports, they're playing basketball, and they somehow manage to make it feel like the tension of like an intense battle or something. They just do it so well. It's hard to explain. It's just the direction and then the dialogue and everything about it just makes you so invested in this team, and so transfixed about what happens throughout this game. And then of course, they have scenes that are not basketball, and you get to know the characters. They're a lot of tearjerker kind of moments, but they're executed well. So which gives you, so you care about these characters, so that way you care about what happens with their game, right? Because you care about them. And so yeah, just a fantastic, just amazing, incredible movie. And yeah, I would recommend it to anybody, just anybody. I think it's worth watching.
Have you seen any of the other slam dunk stuff before this?
I actually have. So years ago, I watched the show, The Dub. And the thing about the dub of the show is that they canceled it like not even halfway through the first season. So there's no ending. It just there's just a point when it just stops. And then I stopped watching. And so I knew of the main character, and I knew the premise of the show. That being said, you don't need to know any of that to watch the movie, which is why I didn't mention it originally, because I don't want to put anybody off feeling like you need to have read the comic or seen the older show. This show is
that's a tall order. It's a huge property. It's like 1 billion volumes,
Oh, sure.
Like
Yeah.
Bleach or something, I think.
Yeah, and I think this is the kind of thing where it's super popular in Japan, and people in the United States have no idea that it exists. I'm surprised, unless you are familiar with manga. And very familiar, not just casually aware.
Well, it's
American reader.
In the States, it might not be as big, but I know in Japan or here in Korea, slam dunk's pretty well known. It's one of the big ones, I'd say.
Yeah, fair enough. But Adam, have you heard of slam dunk? Yeah, and you're someone who knows, right? You know all the Dragon Balls, you know all that, but you've never heard of slam dunk. So that's what I would expect most people. But like I said, you do not need to know anything about the series whatsoever. And just watch the movie, and it's great.
All right, yeah. I am interested in that one.
Sold
I do
me.
want to check it
I'll
out.
watch it probably eventually.
All right.
Yeah, you're up.
My number 3 is also a movie that's not from 2024. This is from 2009, I believe. This is a movie called Doubt, which I was fairly big at the time. I think it might have won some Academy Awards. But the main gist of this movie is it takes place at a Catholic school during the 60s or so, and one of the nuns starts suspecting that one of the students might be being abused by one of the priests. And it's essentially theater. This is a people talking in rooms movie. I actually think it might even be adapted from a play, but I was just riveted the whole time. It's extremely well acted. This is the cast: Philip Seymour Hoffman, Meryl Streep, Amy Adams, and Viola Davis. Like, you can't go wrong. And they knock it out of the park. It's so well done. Like, and it's the subject matter is pretty heavy, but it's not like it's very like tastefully done in a sense. But I was just into this. Like I couldn't like stop watching. You know, I was so wrapped up like in the mystery of like what's happening here. But I also like a good people talking in rooms movie. And this is among the best that I've seen. Very good stuff. But it's also not as exciting as something like Dune or Furiosa. No bang bang, boom booms, or anything like that.
Sounds great.
I'm going to make a brief mention about two things. First, all my movies are from this year, and that's just so sorry to break the trend of the third place being a thing. But honestly, I did see a lot of movies this year, and they are all from this year. The other thing is that I saw also a really great Talking in Rooms. It might be 6th place if I was to put it, or definitely in the top 10. But it was called Conclave, and it came out this year, and it was really good. Also, it's about specifically the process of choosing the new pope and how the cardinals vote.
Oh yeah.
I think I saw ads for it.
It's it's the same thing where it's like people talking in rooms, but it's riveting. There's like a central in fact, there's like multiple mysteries about how things are going on and stuff like that they're juggling. It's really great. Okay, but my third is going to be also the movie I've seen the most recently, and that is Nosferatu. Okay, Nosferatu is excellent, and I should mention that I had extremely high expectations of it because Robert Eggers created my favorite horror film, which is The Witch. And so what draws me to that movie, The Witch, is like the attention to period detail, the atmosphere that he's like building and trying to grow on, and like this ultimately like that movie really paid off all of the promises it makes early on. Okay. And if there was any director that I would want to take on this project, it would be him, and he did. Like, what a blessing, isn't it? Huh? So yeah, it's my only thing is that it isn't quite as good as The Witch, in my opinion, and I think it suffers just so slightly because none of the criticisms I can level at it get anywhere even close to really ruining it or to making it a problem. The whole work as a whole is like beautiful. It is moody. It feels steeped in history, which I love. This is probably the movie that best sells me on the idea of vampires, not in a real sense, but in the sense where it's like it's based on something, not just like kind of a, how do I put it, not like a like chosen as, kind of tripping over my words here. The key thing is that he didn't choose vampires because they were scary. He chose vampires because the idea and where they came from, the mythological like concept of it is intriguing, and you feel that way throughout the entire movie. Is basically what I'm trying to say. But I feel like the first half is stronger than the second. And if I were to choose whether a first half is stronger or a second half is stronger, I would prefer the second half be stronger for my movies. And that is basically kind of the one thing that I feel is unfortunate about it. But yeah, great. You should see it as soon as you can.
I also love The Witch, and I wanted to see Nosferatu this year. I was hoping I would get it in before the end, but I haven't had the chance. But it's definitely something I want to catch in theaters if I can.
It is not playing here. I mean, it may end up like 6 months down the road. I'll probably see it on video before then. But yeah, I really wish I could see it in theaters because I love Robert Eggers.
All right, this is top two. And I want to say for my movie, I actually really debated between 1 and 2 here, and I switched them around a couple times. But in the end, I decided to go with this as the number 2 movie, which is Challengers. Challengers is probably another sports movie, this one about tennis. And it had a similar dynamic to the last movie in the sense that you care, even if you don't like tennis, you care about the sports because you care about the characters, and it does a good job communicating why is this tennis game so important and why does it matter. And so you as a viewer, you care about it and you care about what's happening. And just like if you've ever enjoyed watching a live sports game because what's going to happen, the tension, it's all there, even though it's a scripted version of it. And it's just as exciting as watching it live, and you're rooting for your favorite player to win and the whole shebang. So they nail that. But then also it's just a very twist and turn kind of, you don't know what to expect in the plot kind of movie. It has so many, Zendaya is incredible in her role that she plays. All the actors are phenomenal. It was probably the most emotional I felt coming out of the theater for any movie this year. That I came out thinking like, oh wow, like I watched something significant, and I wanted to tell everybody to watch it. And then on top of that, it was absolutely phenomenal soundtrack by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, which just perfectly works with the movie. It's like the soundtrack is like a third character, the other main character of the movie. So for all those reasons, the Challengers came out as my number 2. The reason it didn't get to be my number 1, by the way, this was the deciding thing in my head, is that I don't have a strong desire to rewatch it. I feel like I saw it, it was great, it's good. I don't, maybe I will one day, but I just don't have a strong, I feel like I'm good with what I got, which is not true of my number 1 movie. So that was the reason. But have you guys seen it at all?
I have not.
Nope. Although I've definitely heard about it.
Me too.
Got a lot of buzz, a lot of good things, but never got around to it.
But yeah, 10 out of 10.
The director, is it the Italian dude? Luca, okay. Like Luca Guadagnino or something? I might be wrong. Yeah.
But all right, what's your silver medal? What are you giving it to?
All right, my number 2 is also a movie that did not come from 2024. This came from 1988. A small little film called Miracle Mile. I'd never heard of it until past year. It's like it feels like an independent film. I don't seems like a lower budget thing, but basically what it is guy meets a girl. It's like a meet cute kind of thing. Gonna go on a date, and later in the night he gets a phone call, or at a phone booth there's the phone ringing, and he answers, and he learns that nuclear Armageddon might be extremely imminent, and basically the rest of the movie is just that night and what happens, trying to like process or maybe evade the situation. It's the kind of movie where it ends up is totally different from where it starts. I always enjoy that in a film. It's also pretty much in real time, like over the span of a night, like just a few hours. I also really like movies that take place over a short period of time. And it's, like I said, it has a small budget. It feels independent, so it's not as polished as like a major Hollywood production. But I think that's part of the reason why I like it so much, is that it just feels different. Like I don't often see movies that just kind of feel like this. It's different. And I found it riveting the whole time. I just love where it goes with things. And I actually rewatched it very recently, and I still loved it. But the person I watched it with really did not like it, so you may be taking a risk here. I love the film, but it would appear that not everyone does. But yeah, what happens when you think the whole world's gonna blow up? There we go.
All right, Adam.
All right. This is where I put Dune 2. So, and I'm going to illustrate what I love about this movie by disagreeing with JL's earlier analysis. And it's really just one major disagreement, which is this movie feel just like a continuation of the first one? And that's where I disagree, because to me, this movie's better than the first one. And the reason that it is better is because I really liked the first one. Like I fell in love with the visuals, and you're right that visually this is a continuation. Absolutely, it feels like the same visual, like kind of toolkit, which is a great one. It's like one that is worth going to the movie theaters to see. But the difference is that the characters in the first movie left me feeling kind of like distant or colder, whereas in this movie, like everything felt way more imminent. I felt like I got to know the motivations or what is driving these characters in the second movie, and that made it much stronger, in my opinion. I felt like the story was more active because of that. It felt more like the stakes were more. I was more attached to them in this movie than in the previous one. One other fun side effect is I have read Dune just once, and one of the things that I think is kind of fun about this is I've never read any sequels to Dune, so I am incredibly curious about what happens next. I am unaware of what comes after this.
Oh, the Dune sequels. I haven't read all of them. I've read 2, 3, and 4. They go places. I'll say that.
Very interested in that. But yeah, people have floated the idea. Maybe it's counting chickens before they hatched a little bit, but people have compared this to a modern day Lord of the Rings trilogy, and it right now, if the quality holds up, that's what it's going to be for me.
I had the same thoughts when I saw the movie. Like, something like this, like successful, but also like fairly weird. Dude's pretty weird. Like it's sci-fi and it's fun, but dude's pretty weird. But it's just doing so well. It kind of reminds me of like, you know, when something like Lord of the Rings or Star Wars, just like sort of a big event that like everyone seemed to saw. Like, and if you say like Lisan Al Gaib, I think everyone gets it. Like they've seen the movie, they know the memes now. Like it made its, you know, little mark on the cultural timeline.
Yeah. Well, that leads very nicely into my number one, because my number one movie, and I'm shocked it's me doing this, was Dune 2. And I'm going to say that I agreed with Adam when he said that this movie was better than Dune 1, which I wholesale agree. Where I disagree with Adam is that he said it's better just for its character motivations and getting to know them. That's all true, but I think it's better visually and in every way, every possible way. There are certain scenes from this movie, and I saw the first one again this year. There's no scenes in that first movie that are like, give me like a sense of awe when I see them, and there absolutely are in the second. There's like multiple scenes I can just think in my head that were just like epic, incredible moments. Whereas the first movie is more about like introducing you to this new place. It's weird. Here's all these like interesting things about it, and you're learning things, and so you come away from it being like, that was really cool. Like I got into this new world and I like it. The 2 is like, okay, now that we're in this world, I'm gonna call you like the cool stuff. Like this is the stuff you like weren't like, you know, like, and I can't say too much without spoiling it, but yeah, I just this movie made me feel, I think, like truly awestruck in the theater. And again, like the only time I felt that feeling before is watching Lord of the Rings, when I first saw those moments, and that they're, you know, you shall not pass kind of moments that exist in this movie as well, where they're just so, there's a reason.
Oh yeah, there's parts that like give you goosebumps. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think there's a reason that the first movie didn't really spark the memes that this one did, and it's because this one is more memorable. It's just, yeah, I think this, if I would say that Dune 1, I'd call it like I mean, it's a really good movie, like maybe like an 8.5 out of 10. And then Dune 2 is an 11 out of 10. Like it's just, it exceeded the original in every way. And I know I'm going to watch it again. I already seen it twice. And I know for a fact that assuming the third one is even close to as good as these two, then I'm going to rewatch them in the trilogy at some point. This will be a movie that I come back to multiple times in my life. I already, you know, it's exciting to find movies like that, because for me, I don't rewatch movies all that much. But when I find one that I really like, you know, I can already tell that this is something I'm going to revisit. And so that's just, yeah, I had to give it the number one spot. And again, I'm completely shocked, because if I had to say who were the biggest Dune fans of the three of us, I would put myself at the bottom of that list. And I would say JL at the top, the most, you know, into Dune, and then Adam second. And so it's just funny how that played out.
I mean, like I said, I rank these in order of how much I wanted to talk about them. Like, I mean, I was hyped about. I love this movie just as much as you guys. Just, I didn't feel like I had much more to say. Like, oh, Dune 2, so good. I loved it. Go see it. Yeah, great film. Is the third one in production right now? Do you guys know anything about that?
I don't. Only that it's been given to the same director. He's been given free reign to execute his vision for it. Which is
that one will be interesting.
They feel like they have to, because they ended it on a cliffhanger. So it doesn't. Yeah. This movie doesn't tie up nicely. Like it makes you wonder what happens next in a really compelling way. But so they kind of set themselves up where they have to execute.
Yeah, which I could see why. I will be very interested to see how they adapt to Messiah. And I'd be interested in people's reactions to it. It's yeah, but yeah, I looking forward to the third one as much as any of you guys, even though I pretty much know what happens. But
All right, that's me. Let's get the last round of first placers.
oh yeah, my number one, which is, I don't know if this is actually the number one movie. I probably like Dune 2 more than this, but I saw this the most recently, and it made me very happy. But that is Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul.
I was not, I'm going to be totally honest, I was aware that this movie existed. I was not going to watch it. I had zero plans to watch it. But now I think I'm going to have to. Number one of the year, or at least the thing that you're most interested in talking about. That's,
Well,
it
probably helps that it was the most recent thing I saw. But, I mean, I love Wallace and Gromit. Like, the originals were always a big part of my childhood. Watched them quite often. And even the newer Wallace, like the newer additions to the franchise that have come out over the years, I thought were all very good. So I was really looking forward to this, because I don't think they've missed yet. And this hits. Like, I don't think the creators have lost their touch at all. It still has that same, like, charm, same comedy. Have you guys seen all the other Wallace and Gromit?
I've seen Curse of the Were Rabbit, and I've
Yeah, I
seen
know
a
that
lot
well.
of the shorts,
Yeah.
but not.
I mean, the shorts were like what it originally was, like the 3 original shorts. But anyway, this is a sequel to The Wrong Trousers, in a sense. I mean, I really like the villain in that one. They bring him back, and he's just a, I don't know, just a very funny character. And like, I don't know, I laughed. I watched it with my mom and dad. They all had a good time. I mean, I guess I don't have much to say about any of the movies I've talked about, but it just made me feel good. And it might be the whole like nostalgia thing, you know, playing into just how I felt as a kid. Like, I wouldn't say this movie's nostalgia based. Like it doesn't, like, it's not one of those things where it's like, oh, just remember this. Like, it's a new story. It does its own thing. It's very good, but just it has the same feeling as the originals. And yeah, I recommend it. It's on Netflix. So if you have that, anyone can watch it. It's a good, simple time, you know. And I also really like that it's all, like, you know, hand claymation, or at least it seemed that way. That's the sense I got. Like, none of this looked like it was computers. Maybe some brief moments, I don't know, but I just really like the fact that you know, they use that old animation style that feels so, you know, real, because it is, in a sense.
All right. My number one movie of the year is probably the movie that will most show my bias towards something that I love. Because, like, I don't know, I maybe there's like a veneer of criticism to everything I'm saying, but in the end, these lists are really just like, what is something that really stood out to me that I really liked. And the movie that did something that I love and I miss and I'm always looking for it is the horror film Oddity. So the thing that Oddity did is a feeling that I'm always on the hunt for any horror film that I can, like, come across. I watched like 5 or 6 different new horror films this year, always on the hunt for it. And the movie that gave it to me best was Oddity. And what it is this feeling is to be, like, chilled to the bone. That is the feeling that I'm always looking for. And to be honest, not every horror genre even tries to do that. Like, there's a lot of like, for example, like a lot of slasher and like the Saw movies and stuff like that. They don't really try to recreate. It's horror in a different sense. It's horror. It's like, oh, it's like an empathy towards these characters because there's something awful happening to them. And those movies, that kind of thing won't create that feeling. But it's a feeling that movies like The Witch have created for me, movies like Hereditary, and it's this feeling like that you're out of your depth, and there's like things that are dark and beyond our understanding that creates this. It's like a combination of horror with a sense of mystery, like that there's something bigger than ourselves and stuff like that. So Oddity not only created that feeling, but it also succeeds on so many other levels. It has like great atmosphere. I would say that Nosferatu beats it in that category alone, but that's just because that is the main product of Nosferatu, is that if you're hunting for a feeling, a certain mood, Nosferatu will give it to you. But it also has that. It has immense tension. It has like a bunch of scenes that like I think about, or that like have stayed with me. It has a weird combination of like really traditional horror elements, the things you expect from horror, like almost obvious, that it combines with that obviousness, or that sense of familiarity with like supernatural horror, with weird ideas, like just kind of things that you don't expect, like a way of combining these really obvious elements in a way that is like really weird and new, and isn't really like something I've seen before. And that mixture of that feeling I'm always on the hunt for, all of the things we judge a horror for has those things, and the combination of old and new, and like the way it mixes together, just in my opinion, it's almost a perfect horror movie, and one of my top that I've ever seen. Wonderful.
I mean, I think I heard that name sometime in 2024, but not much else beyond it.
Yeah, I've never heard of this film. Definitely flew over my radar, but sounds like I'll have to give it a watch. Do you know how was this critically acclaimed, or is this something?
It is critically acclaimed. It did well. Some critics had some issues with some things about it, and like I can kind of see their arguments, but I don't know. I think that it is my 5 out of 5 horror movie, and this is a year I saw a lot of horror, a lot of which I liked or loved. So like some shout outs of some horror that I've seen. Longlegs, I generally thought was pretty good. I'm in for it. I know it's some kind of controversial among some people who really don't like it, but a lot of people like it too.
I really liked Longlegs.
Yeah, I liked it too. I thought it was good. And another one was Late Night with the Devil. Was really great. I thought it was really funny and really good. But Oddity is the standout for me. I think that in a year full of excellent horror films, it is the one that stands out to me the most.
Well, there you have it. Those are definitively the greatest movies of 2024. Thank you so much for being with us, especially you guys who have been sticking with us for years. You know who you are. And we will see you in 2026. Till next time, don't forget to like, subscribe, /follow wherever your favorite podcast app is. See ya.
Bye.
Bye-bye.